B&B spoilers. Is Katie Logan taking Electra's man with her? This week on The Bold and the Beautiful. Spoilers say that Katie Logan, Heather Tom, will continue to struggle with being replaced at Forrester Creations. The Forrester gang insists it is just temporary. But will Katie take her talents to Bill Spencer's company where she is appreciated? Bill Spencer, Don Diamant, wants his wife to come back to their family business. Will she bring their son with her? Here's what's coming up next on B&B. Spoilers down below. It's no secret on The Bold and the Beautiful that Dollar Bill is bothered by the fact his son is working at Forrester Creations and not at Spencer Publications. Rather than following in his father's footsteps, Will is following in Bill's rival Ridge's footsteps. Is Will going to leave Forrester's too? Originally, Will took the position as a temporary internship and could care less about fashion, but then he fell in love with Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, and is like a member of the Forrester family. It will be a tough sell getting him to leave Forrester Creations, but if his mom leaves, then the odds could change. According to B&B spoilers, Dollar Bill will use the Forresters' mistake to his advantage. If Katie is feeling unappreciated at FC, she will be treated like a queen at her hubby's company. Since Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, hired a PR team behind her back, it won't take much convincing to get her back to Spencer Publications. Bill is no fool. He knows that if he gets Katie Logan back to Spencer Publications, then he could get Will Spencer Jr. to come over to the family business soon. Ridge and Bill's rivalry heats up. The Bold and the Beautiful previews tease some major drama between the Forrester and Spencer families in upcoming months. Is it because Bill Spencer is stealing all of Ridge's employees and hiring them? Do you think Will is going to follow his mom? How will Electra Forrester react? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments down below, and keep checking back here on Soap Opera Spy for more B&B spoilers and news. The glass walls of Bill Spencer's penthouse office seemed to vibrate with Katie Logan's rising anxiety. She was standing at the panoramic window, looking out over the glittering expanse of Los Angeles, but all she saw was the reflection of her own bruised heart. "You're doing this all wrong, Katie," Bill's voice, a gravelly rumble of concern, cut through the quiet. He stood near his bar, polishing a glass he didn't need to polish. "You should be screaming at Ridge, not staring sadly at the skyline. They replaced you, Katie. Replaced the most loyal, capable PR head Forrester Creations ever had, all because they thought you were stressed." Katie turned, her expression a fragile mask of composure. "They didn't replace me, Bill. They eased my load. That's the corporate spin. But the truth is, Ridge and Brooke saw a vulnerability and they exploited it. They always do. And the only thing worse than the betrayal is that Brooke let it happen. She was happy I could spend more time with Will." Katie's voice cracked on her son's name. "She was happy I was out of the way." Bill set the glass down with a decisive clink. "Then stop letting them define you. Come back here, Katie. Come home. You belong at Spencer Publications. We'll build an empire. The three of us, you, me, and Will. That's where your loyalty lies. Not with the people who tossed you aside the second things got messy." Bill's words, tempting and poisonous, struck a chord. The recent nightmare surrounding Will and the obsessive Luna Nozoa had been nearly unbearable. Will had just begun to breathe again, comforted by the steady presence of his girlfriend, Electra Forrester. But in Katie's mind, Electra was a constant, shimmering reminder of the Forrester family, the same family that had just betrayed her. "Will is my heart, my focus," she thought, her internal monologue echoing the familiar Logan tendency toward self-justification. "Electra is a distraction, a complication. She's too young, too tied up in the chaos of that fashion house. I need to protect him. I need to take him out of the firing line." The Malibu interrogation. Will Spencer and Electra Forrester were on the deck of the Malibu beach house, the ocean breeze whipping Electra's dark hair around her face. They were in a cocoon of post-crisis relief, discussing the horrifying news that Miss Dillon, the art teacher, was the one responsible for the hit and run that led to Luna's death. The weight of the Luna nightmare was finally lifting, allowing their young love to flourish. I just can't believe it, Will murmured, pulling Electra closer. It's like something out of a terrible movie. But it's over now. We're safe. Electra nodded, laying her head against his shoulder. We are, and I'm so grateful. Having you is the only thing that got me through watching my family stress out about all the press. It was a lot. The moment was shattered by the sound of a car door slamming. Katie walked onto the deck, not with her usual gentle warmth, but with a stiff, determined posture that felt instantly cold. Will, Electra! Katie greeted them, her smile strained. Just checking in. How are you holding up, Will? Really? I'm fine, Mom. Great, actually, Will said, standing up. The confession changes everything. It's closure. Closure for the Forresters, maybe, Katie countered, her eyes flicking dismissively toward Electra. But what about you, honey? You were traumatized. You were hunted. And you were doing this all while juggling the crushing pressure of being a Forrester in turn and trying to navigate this. She gestured vaguely between the two teens. Electra felt a chill. Katie, I've been supporting Will every step of the way. We're stronger because of this. Are you, Electra? Katie stepped closer to her son, physically placing herself between the couple. Or is it that you're just too distracted by the corporate drama at Forrester Creations to notice how deeply this has affected him? I was just up there. The scandal is raging. They had to hire an outside PR team to handle the fallout because it's so toxic. Will frowned. What are you talking about? You're the head of PR. Katie's composure finally broke. Not anymore, Will. They sidelined me. They said I needed to rest. They put me out to pasture. The Forresters, your extended family, betrayed me, darling. Just like they always betray the Logans. She looked at Electra, her tone turning dangerously sympathetic. Electra, I know you're a sweet girl, but you're a Forrester. And right now, the Forrester world is toxic. It nearly destroyed my son. You two need a clean break. She took Will's hands. Your father is ready to bring us both into Spencer Publications. A real media empire. We could leave Los Angeles. Travel. See the world. Put all this darkness behind us and start fresh. Just the two of us. The implication hung in the air, heavy and undeniable. We'll leave Electra and leave Los Angeles with me. The conflicting counsel. That evening, the drama escalated at the Spencer penthouse. Bill Spencer was watching the media coverage of the Forrester scandal with grim satisfaction when Katie walked in, ready for her next move. I did it, Bill, she announced, her voice trembling with the adrenaline of confrontation. I told Will he needs to leave LA with me. He needs space. He needs to disconnect from the Forrester drama, and that girl is the anchor
Bill
holding
paused
him here. The TV, turning slowly to face her. Wait, you told him to break up with Electra. I told him he needs to prioritize himself, Katie corrected, defensive. And right now, that means getting away from a family who just tossed me out like trash. How can I trust them to protect my son when they couldn't even stand by me? Katie, I love watching the Forresters squirm, but Electra is just a kid. Bill cautioned, surprisingly moderate. Don't let your anger at Ridge and Brooke ruin your son's happiness. Electra is a good distraction for him from all that Luna mess. A distraction, or the next source of drama? Katie challenged. She's wrapped up in that world, Bill. And what if she ends up being another Luna? Another obsessed person tied to the FC drama? I can't take that risk. Katie was projecting her fear of loss onto Electra, seeing her as a direct threat to the perfect, protective bubble she wanted to build around Will. Meanwhile, back at the Forrester estate, Electra was pouring her heart out to her cousin, Steffi, whose experience with Sheila Carter gave her an unparalleled perspective on family drama. She was so cold, Steffi, Electra choked out, tears streaming down her face. She made it sound like I was infected, like my family was poisoning Will. She wants him to leave town. She wants me completely out of his life. Steffi, holding a mug of tea, shook her head. Katie is lashing out. Brooke and Ridge hurt her deeply by bringing in that new PR team. She feels pushed aside, and now she's reverting to the classic Logan protective instinct. Or maybe the classic Logan habit of taking someone else's man. Steffi immediately regretted the last part. No, wait, I didn't mean it like that, she quickly added, realizing the historical weight of the Logan women and stolen partners. I mean, she's trying to control Will's destiny, and unfortunately you're collateral damage. Will is the man in question, Electra, and you need to remind him what you have together. The ultimatum. The next morning, the tension reached its breaking point at the Spencer Beach house, where Will had reluctantly agreed to meet his mother and father. We're ready to offer you a role at Spencer Media, Will, Bill announced, standing beside Katie, who looked both resolute and desperately sad. A chance to learn the business from the ground up, to be part of the legacy. You can take a gap year, travel with your mom, and then come back and run your own division. Will looked from his father, whose eyes shone with pride and ambition, to his mother, whose eyes pleaded for security and connection. That sounds incredible, Dad, but my life is here. My internship at FC, my friends, Electra. Katie stepped forward, cutting him off with a soft, devastating precision. Electra won't be here, honey. She'll be immersed in the Forrester drama. I know you love her, Will, but you're 17. This is a chance for a fresh start, a clean slate. You need to choose a new life with your family or constant entanglement with the people who just betrayed me. It was the ultimate soap opera chess move, pitting filial loyalty against romantic love, wrapping a betrayal in the guise of protection. Katie had weaponized her own pain. Will felt a sharp, paralyzing fear. He couldn't choose. He needed both his mother and the woman he loved. Suddenly, Electra appeared in the doorway, her presence unexpected and forceful. She wasn't crying anymore. She was pure Forrester steel. Don't do this, Katie, Electra said, her voice clear and steady. Don't make him choose between the mother who claims to love him and the woman who's been his rock through hell. You're asking him to abandon his happiness because of your hurt. Katie turned on her, wounded. This isn't about me. It's about giving my son peace. Your family is nothing but chaos. My family is loyalty, Katie. We don't run away from each other. Electra stepped toward Will. You think leaving LA will make the problems go away? It won't. They'll just be replaced by the pain of separation. You're not just taking him from me, Katie. You're taking him from his future, from the life he's building. Electra looked directly at Will, tears finally welling up, but her gaze never wavered. Will, I'm not asking you to choose me over your mom. I'm asking you to choose your own path. I will be here. I will always be here. But if you walk away now because your mother told you my family is too messy, you'll be doing exactly what Ridge and Brooke did to her, letting someone else decide your worth. The fallout and the revelation. Will stood silent, utterly shattered. He looked at Katie, seeing not his protective mother, but the shadow of the Logan's history, the cycle of manipulation, the habit of stealing partners, now twisted into stealing futures. He saw the cold logic of Bill's world, where love was secondary to power. I can't leave, Mom, Will finally whispered, shaking his head. I can't. This is my home. Electra is my future. I appreciate the offer, Dad, but I need to stay and face things here. Katie felt the rejection like a physical blow, worse than the betrayal by Ridge. Her son had chosen the Forrester chaos over her protective embrace. The shocking news was confirmed. Katie Logan had tried to take Electra's man, and she had failed spectacularly. A week later, Katie sat alone in her condo. She hadn't gone to Spencer Publications. She hadn't even called Brooke back. She was scrolling through social media when she saw a picture. Will and Electra smiling at a Forrester Creations party, stronger than ever. Then her phone rang. It was Donna. Katie, you have to come to the hospital. It's Eric, Donna sobbed. He collapsed. Brooke and Ridge are devastated. They need us, Katie. We need us. Katie felt the walls around her heart crack. She hadn't just tried to separate Will from Electra. She had allowed herself to become totally estranged from her sisters, her family, and the people she loved, all because of a professional slight. She had repeated the cycle of bitterness that had haunted the Logans for decades. As she rushed to the hospital, Katie knew her attempt to steal Electra's man, to remove Will from the Forrester orbit, had been a desperate, selfish act born of pain. She had lost her job, she had lost her way, and she had nearly lost her son's respect. Walking into the quiet, somber hospital waiting room, she saw Electra seated next to a pale, grieving Will. Electra reached out and took Will's hand, a silent pillar of strength. Katie realized the truth that hit harder than any headline. Electra hadn't just been his girlfriend. She was the family Will had chosen to anchor himself to, the calm in his storm. Katie stopped in the doorway. She saw her reflection in the glass, no longer the composed head of PR, nor the protective mother, but a woman standing alone. The question wasn't if Katie was taking Electra's man. The question was if Electra was strong enough to keep him, and if Katie could ever forgive herself for trying to tear them apart. Will looked up, his eyes red-rimmed. He saw his mother, and for a split second, the tension was palpable. Katie took a deep breath, swallowed her pride, and walked toward the people who needed her most. She went straight to Electra first, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "I owe you an apology, Electra," she murmured, the sincerity crushing her. "And I'm so sorry, honey, for everything." The real drama, Katie realized, wasn't the clothes or the corporations. The air in the Forrester Creations executive suite was thick, not with the sweet scent of a new fragrance line, but with the sour tang of anxiety and corporate tension. Days after the horrific, dramatic end of the Luna Nozawa saga, a tragedy that had dragged the fashion house's name through the mud, the entire company felt like it was teetering on a knife edge. Ridge Forrester, his brow furrowed into permanent worry lines, barked orders into a headset while simultaneously reviewing a disastrous poll result on a tablet. He looked up as Will Spencer walked past, his posture stiffer, his usually cheerful face etched with a weary maturity far beyond his years. The trauma of Luna's obsessive pursuit, the non-consensual pregnancy, and the subsequent fallout had stripped Will of his youthful exuberance. He was still showing up, still putting in the hours in the design department, but the spark, the natural Spencer ambition, tempered by the Forrester creativity, was gone. "Will, hold up," Ridge called, setting down his tablet with a clatter. Will turned slowly. "Yes, Ridge." Ridge sighed, running a hand over his close-cropped hair. "Look, I know what you've been through. It was hell. But the company has been through hell too. The PR nightmare, Eric's health, everything. We need everyone at 110%, laser-focused on the new collection. We need to remind the world that Forrester Creations is about beauty and integrity, not scandal." He paused, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Your mind isn't here, son. I see it. You're good. Well, you have the Forrester blood, but lately it feels like you're just going through the motions. Maybe the pressure is too much. Maybe this place reminds you too much of what happened." Will's jaw tightened. Ridge hadn't meant to be cruel, but the words felt like a stab of judgment. "This place reminds you too much." He was right. Every hallway, every studio, felt contaminated by the dark period of his life. Yet it was the company his grandfather built, the legacy he was supposed to share with his mother's family. "I'm doing my best, Ridge," Will replied flatly. "Your best might not be enough right now, kid," Ridge countered, dropping the paternal facade for pure CEO. "Look, your dad, Dollar Bill, he's been making some noise. He's always looking for smart Spencers. Maybe a change of scenery would do you good. Get away from the drama. Get that spark back. Think about it." Ridge's unintentional advice, a suggestion that he leave, hit Will like a bolt of lightning. Ridge was essentially telling him he was disposable, a weak link to be shed during a corporate crisis. Will just nodded, unable to speak, and walked away, the seed of doubt now a fully rooted conflict in his mind. He found Katie Logan in a quiet and used conference room, staring out at the cityscape, her own internal turmoil mirroring the concrete jungle below. She turned when he entered, her expression a mix of affection and deep-seated worry. "Oh, honey," she murmured, moving to embrace him. "Are you okay?" "I just had a chat with Ridge," Will said, the words heavy. "He told me to consider leaving. To go to Spencer. He said I'm not focused enough." Katie's eyes flashed with anger, the protective Logan mother rising instantly. "How dare he? After everything you've endured? You're dedicated, Will. You're there every day. He has no idea how hard you've worked to feel normal again." She held his hand, her gaze becoming serious and deeply conflicted. "That actually brings me to something I need to tell you. Bill came to me again. He didn't just offer me the PR job he mentioned last week, Will. He made a proposal. A huge one." Will waited, sensing the magnitude of her revelation. "He wants a Spencer family reboot," Katie whispered. "He wants me, Liam, Wyatt, and you, all of us working under one roof at Spencer Publications. He sees the Forrester situation as a sinking ship right now. He sees the way Ridge pushed me out by bringing in an outside firm to handle the Luna fallout. He said they disrespected me, and frankly, I feel it, Will. I feel completely dismissed." Will leaned back against the polished mahogany table. "So, you're seriously considering going back to Spencer?" Katie looked away, toward the sun setting over the Hollywood hills. "I don't know. I love Forrester Creations. Eric is family. I have so many good memories here. But Bill's right. Forrester didn't protect me, and they haven't protected you. Bill's offer isn't just a job, Will. It's protection. It's a chance for us as Spencers to be a unit, building something together where your dad can make sure nothing ever threatens us again. He promised to make Spencer Publications the most powerful media empire in the world, focused on protecting its family." The words struck a chord deep within Will. Protection. That was what he craved most after months of feeling hunted and vulnerable. At Forrester, he was constantly reminded of the trauma. At Spencer, he could harness the trauma, channel it into ambition, and stand shoulder to shoulder with his father, the one man who had never failed to defend his own. He thought of the countless hours he'd spent in the studio, sketching designs, trying to connect with the Forrester legacy. He loved the creativity, the fabrics, the art. But he hated the backstabbing, the constant drama, the feeling of being an outsider despite his family ties. At Forrester, he was one of many heirs. At Spencer, he was the youngest son of the great dollar bill, poised for greatness. What would I even do at Spencer? Will finally asked. "I'm a design guy." "Your father said that's the beauty of it," Katie smiled faintly. "He wants to launch a new division, a luxury lifestyle branch. He wants to leverage his media reach to promote it globally. Think high-end tech, luxury travel, bespoke clothing lines, not just fashion but an experience. He said you could head the creative team. Your name, your vision, backed by Spencer Media Muscle. Will stood up straight. Head the creative team. Not an intern, not a junior associate, but a head. That was a challenge. That was the Spencer fire calling to him. He was tired of being the nice, quiet kid. He wanted to be a force. "We have to talk to my father," Will decided, a new resolution hardening his gaze. Now. 10 minutes later, the sound of a powerful engine roaring to a halt echoed from the basement parking garage, followed quickly by the unmistakable, confident tread of designer shoes. Bill Spencer didn't use an entrance. He made an arrival. He strode into the conference room, wearing a smile that promised both partnership and war. "There you are, my two favorite people, plotting the next step to world domination, I presume." "Bill, we need to be clear about this," Katie started, but Bill cut her off, his eyes sparkling with predatory excitement. "I need to be clear, kitten," Bill said, leaning over the table, his voice low and intense. "The Forresters let you down. They replaced you the second they felt the heat. They put my son, through hell, and then basically told him he wasn't worth keeping around because of their own sloppy PR management. This isn't about business, Katie. This is about family and protecting what's ours. He turned to Will, placing a hand on his shoulder. You've been a good soldier, Will. You've honored your mother and your grandfather. But this is the moment. This is your chance to step into your own power. I don't want you designing frocks for Ridge's latest muse. I want you building an empire that will outlast them all. You'll have the resources, the media, and the freedom to create a legacy that is purely yours. A Spencer legacy. Bill's pitch wasn't about money. It was about ambition, protection, and destiny, the three pillars of the Spencer name. It was irresistible. I'm in, Dad, Will said, the decision solidifying in his chest. I'll head the new luxury division. Katie gasped softly, a look of profound relief washing over her face. Oh, Will. Bill clapped his son on the back, a fierce pride beaming from his eyes. That's my boy. Now, let's go make this official. We're not sending a resignation email. We're delivering a declaration of war. And we're doing it right now. The clock in Ridge's office read 5 p.m., a time when most employees were packing up. Ridge, Steffi, and Brooke were deep in a tense meeting with Justin Barber, attempting to strategize how to spin the news cycle away from the Luna disaster. The door burst open, and Bill Spencer swaggered in, followed closely by Katie and Will, who looked taller, more resolved than he had moments before. Well, look who it is, Ridge sneered. Did you come to gloat, Dollar Bill? Because we're a little busy cleaning up a mess that involves your son. Actually, I'm here to formally collect my family, Bill purred, flashing a triumphant smile. Katie, dear, tell them the good news. Katie took a deep breath, meeting Brooke's shocked gaze. I'm resigning from Forrester Creations. Effective immediately. The room erupted. Brooke cried out, Katie, no. Why? We're family. Steffi looked aghast, seeing the massive PR hole Katie's departure would leave. Justin simply steepled his fingers, fascinated by the corporate maneuvering. It's time, Brooke, Katie said, her voice firm. I'm going to Spencer Publications. Bill has offered me a position where I feel valued and protected. Ridge scoffed. Please, Bill is just trying to stick it to me. He's using you, Katie. No, Ridge. Will spoke up, his voice clear and ringing in the silence he commanded. He stepped forward, putting himself between his mother and the Forresters. He's not using us. He's recognizing our worth. And he's offering me a future this company failed to provide. Steffi stared at him, genuinely stunned. Will, what are you talking about? You just got promoted. Your family. You belong here. Will shook his head, the weight of the last few months fueling his conviction. I love my grandfather, Eric, and I respect what Forrester Creations stands for. But after everything that happened, this place has become a source of stress, not inspiration. I need a clean slate. He paused, letting the silence build, perfectly mimicking his father's flair for the dramatic. I am also resigning from Forrester Creations, effective immediately. I will be joining Spencer Publications to launch and head their new luxury lifestyle division. We're going to build a brand that is focused on innovation, integrity, and reaching a new global market through media power. I appreciate everything I've learned here, but my loyalty and my future lie with my father and the Spencer name. The shock was palpable. Ridge looked physically winded. Losing Katie was bad, but losing Will, a Forrester heir, the bridge between two families, to Bill Spencer, the eternal enemy, was a declaration of total corporate war. You're making a huge mistake, Will, Ridge finally managed, his voice strained. You're throwing away your legacy for your father's ego. Bill laughed, a deep, chest-shaking, dollar bill laugh that echoed off the mahogany walls. Ego? No, Ridge. This is evolution. You're trapped in the past, struggling with a dying patriarch and corporate scandal. I'm seizing the future. And Will, unlike you, knows exactly where he belongs. He placed his arm around Katie, his other hand signaling Will toward the door. Come on, family. Let's leave the dressmaker to pick up the pieces. We have an empire to build. As the trio turned and walked out, leaving the stunned Forresters in their wake, the news spread like wildfire through the building. The junior staffers, the seamstresses, the security guards, everyone was buzzing. The Spencer heir, the great hope for the next generation of Forrester design, was gone. Left standing in the silent, ornate office, Ridge slumped into his chair. He actually did it, he muttered, rubbing his temples. Bill won. He got Katie and he stole Will. Steffi, ever the warrior, slammed her hand on the table. He didn't steal him, Ridge. We pushed him. We were so busy focusing on Eric's health and the scandal. We let Will feel like a burden. We let Bill make him feel like a hero. Brooke looked devastated, not just for the company, but for her sister and nephew. This changes everything. Bill isn't just taking on a new employee, he's launching a direct, personal, and professional attack against us. He's weaponized his own son. Justin Barber, still seated, offered the chilling summation. You're losing 2 family members, Ridge, but you're gaining a new, extremely well-funded, and deeply motivated rival. Will Spencer isn't just leaving Forrester Creations. He's about to become your biggest competition. Outside, in the golden light of the setting Los Angeles sun, Will walked side by side with his mother and father. He felt a profound sense of lightness. The Forrester drama was behind him. The Spencer dynasty was calling. He was no longer just a sensitive young man recovering from a terrible trauma. He was Will Spencer, the new creative force of a burgeoning media and luxury empire. He looked at his father, then at his mother, and smiled for the first time in months. A genuine, confident, and slightly dangerous smile that perfectly captured the essence of Dollar Bill's son. The corporate war had just begun, and for the first time, Will Spencer was ready to fight.